All right, so I just like it's been 1.5 minutes since the live stream of Solar Data. And Harry, I have a really, really important question. How do you say, I'm gonna butcher it again, Real Betis? How do you say it properly?
So I was just watching you live on stream,
It's
actually.
struggling. It's struggling.
Yeah, you didn't nail it first off, but I think what you just said then was perfect. Real Betis. That's how I would say it. I'm obviously not Spanish, so I don't know if there's any sort of twangs that I'm missing, but yeah, Real Betis is how we would say it in the UK. I mean,
I feel like you could be almost anything. Like like since I've known you and like known your content, I think you literally have done content from like every continent. It feels like,
it does feel that way. It does feel that way at this point. I mean,
but
yeah, if you include like the world, yeah, you could kind
it's a
of say
lot.
that, yeah.
I mean, like Antarctica, maybe that's still.
I've never even done Asia, I'd love to go to Asia on a
Oh,
random note. I've never, gone on holiday
so
to Asia.
this is what we need to do. We need to get you and Fripp together. Fripp
Mm.
takes you everywhere, and then you guys like stream after rollerblading. Because I mean, you're a fit guy too. Like you probably could, or one of the few that could stick up with Fripp on the rollerblading adventure.
Rollerblading. I've tried it as a kid. As a kid, I had a pair. Did you have Heelys as a like? Do you remember what Heelys were or are? They're like
I kind of sucked.
shoes with literal wheels inside them,
Oh,
and they like flick out.
so I kid you not. I'm like so nervous. So I have 5 and 2-year-old. 5-year-old has a skating party he's been invited to this
Ooh.
weekend.
Yeah,
But it's those. I just call them roller skates. But
I mean they are. Yeah.
but literally, like where the wheel is straight underneath the shoe. And it
Mhm.
looks like not like the rollerblades that like look all cool and have wheels like to cushion the entire foot, but just like it's dude, I think I'm gonna create an excuse to not go out there, like a bad knee or I don't know.
It feels like you could be a DMP that week.
Yeah, but I know what's gonna happen. My wife, we haven't talked about this. My wife is probably just as nervous about it.
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen is then I'm gonna be the one that gets sent out there. That's what's gonna happen. Just watch.
I mean, typical wives, right?
And then episode 3 will be me in a sling. Like, hey, homies. Yeah.
Live stream from the hospital bed.
No, it could be out of there, but it just wouldn't be. I mean, dude, did you like what I've done with the place? The So Rare Lounge here in the back for the
I
people
love
on
it.
YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
The wife actually said, if you're going to be doing 2 hours of pods, you can go find somewhere else in the house. I'm taking the office. So here we are. But
No, I like it. I like it.
yeah, so that stream, I don't like to one of my points in doing the show was to not time date anything, but I'm totally time dating because it was so interesting how many people perceive different routes on So Rare.
Mm.
Like the most common thing on that stream was really interesting. Like, great that Beta stack got to D2, but there's no way that you're gonna get to D1. It's like, really?
Why not?
I that was my question to you. So
I
like,
mean, yeah.
later, because I think Laird was on my side too. And he's like, I don't really know. So why do you think the perception in So Rare is that you have to have like these elite cards at all steps to be successful? Because I really do think that the minority is the group that says, "Hey, I can like play matchups or out strategize to get up." And you're very similar to me. You don't.
Mhm.
You have some really good cards, but you predominantly have guys that you like.
Yeah. Why do I think it's perceived that way? I think because the biggest and best and most successful stacks, wherever that region may be, PSV and Challenger, whatever in Champ, like they make the most noise, right? Like we
Right.
see it on not a weekly basis because they don't pop up every week, but we see it more often than not. We see PSV smash Challenger more than we see Betis help you get promoted up to 3 divisions in 3 weeks. Like, unfortunately, the loudest noise is the most vocal or whatever the saying is. And like, I think that plays into it for the like majority of it. And granted, the better stack isn't going to work every week. But I think what you and Laird were saying, which rings true, I think, is matchups are so underrated. Like, it doesn't matter if Betis are Madrid, if they're playing Valladolid at home. Like, they're just things that I'm not going to put it down to like people's inexperience, but I do think it comes down to that to a degree. Like, I'm not saying everyone watching that stream doesn't know what they're talking about, because a
Right.
lot of them do, because we know they do, right? They're
Yep.
watching Sorare data. That is the strategy content sphere
Right.
of Sorare, right? But
Right.
I think if you are new and watching that, like if you've been around the block a little bit, you kind of just have seen things a lot. Like there's not much you haven't seen in a football game, in a matchup, in a whatever you want to call it. And I just think the longer you've been around, the more things you can like predict happening again.
Yeah.
History repeats itself, and just little things like that. We know teams get worse and better. You said Sevilla got worse and or getting worse and things like that happen. But I think for the most part, it is just noise doing what it just does on social media.
Yeah. I think you know what I kind of miss like was so rare, and I'll bring this back, I promise. But you remember like early days of so rare, where some random guy in Turkey or China or Japan would like there would be your probably at the beginning Liverpool was really good that like my first year on the
Mm,
platform. And it was YNWA or whoever that was always just cleaning up with Liverpool stacks. And then all of a sudden you would see Romelu in China all of a sudden come, or like it was like I remember I one time had one of my earliest podiums ever, and I'm like sitting there. I didn't know anything about Russian football at that time. It was before I got to know like Rakitsky or anything like that.
yeah.
And Malcolm and God, who
Mm.
was it? Who was the other guy? I can't think of it. I don't know if it was
Wow.
Wendell.
Wendell,
I don't know.
Douglas Santos,
It it could have been. It probably was Douglas Santos because
the
like
defender. Yeah.
that was like a legend that I did not know about. And you're like, who are these people? What's
Mm.
happening? Like, where is this coming from? I thought the game week was over. I didn't know a game was at 4 a.m. Like, you're like, where's this coming from?
Do you miss that though?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm gonna be your forever really, really, really Mrs. All-Star for that reason
Hmm.
alone. For
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you're in contender and Romelu, I'm assuming he still smacks, but
Yeah.
Romelu comes and gets you, you go, of course
Right.
he's gonna come get me. Like he drops
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. But like the crazy thing was like you could use Romelu to win Mbappe. You know,
Yeah.
that was the selling point, I think, of the game for a long time. And I think, yeah, a lot of us are I think Quinny's probably the biggest advocate of it from like I can just think off the top of my head that like when they announced that like All Star was going, I know we still have in drips and drabs, but permanent All Stars going, you can't play Romelu to win Mbappe or whoever the best card is. Like it did just like I don't know. It was that announced like that part of the announcement was a bit of a bummer from like a you've kind of just 360'd or 180'd on like
Mhm.
the whole USP in some way, from the gameplay perspective. So yeah, I do miss it. I'm not gonna say I was the biggest all-star guy because I never really had those cards.
No, you
I
were
was obviously
U23 boy. You were
it's the
U23
same
boy.
thing though. I was still
It
using
was.
like yeah,
It was, but you were segmented. You like
way
you
more segmented.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, completely different, but in some ways. I mean, but luckily I still have that. So like I'm blessed in that way. Like
Yeah.
I still haven't lost my why I fell in love with playing the game, honestly.
So there's a nagging question I have. And
Mm,
if you do so many streams and so much content that I can't keep up with everyone. So if you answer this at some point, apologies.
yeah.
But my Harry trades my mind blown thought. When did Harry trades decide to buy a 39-year-old Japanese goalkeeper and start running that? Because what's the dude? Is it Nishik? Was it Nishikawa?
Nishikawa, yeah, yeah. Nishikawa.
I remember seeing that in your gallery. I'm like, what just happened?
I think that was collections. If I'm like
No, I think it was threshold.
no,
Was it like the cap change to
honestly
threshold?
I don't think it. Honestly, I never really used him in there because
Okay.
at the time we had Champ Asia. So I was like, obviously Mr. Under 23 and loved playing that. And I
Yeah.
was like, what other like niche competition that nobody really loves playing because it's just not funky or not, the mainstream on this
Okay.
game can I go into? And it was Champ Asia because like the prizes like for podiuming was like the same as anywhere else. It was like $800, wherever it was. Like if you're in, there was only one division. So it was like, hang on a minute, can I like under 23 my way into this somehow? And it was unfortunately the route of a 13. I mean, he's probably 90 now, but
He's
it
still starting.
He still started.
It's
So
crazy.
I will say though, it definitely was collections as well though, Keith,
Okay.
because they were all one of a hundreds. The bundle.
Okay.
I bought a bundle of 5 one of a hundreds, and I
Okay.
was like, I'm set here. Like this is my foundation of my. That was the first collection I ever even like
Was what Urawa?
bought.
Urawa?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never had any other collections at all in this game, and yeah, that spiked my interest of doing that. And it's similar to you. You see, they have a centre back taking pens. I'll have a bit of
Yeah,
that.
Schultz.
They
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
whoever up front. I'll take that. Whatever. Long and behold, that the team gets extracted, and now it's all over the place. But that's just collections in general, right?
Yeah. Well, and then that becomes like we used to talk with Nep a lot when we did the collection time only, but that was kind of like half the fun of some collections was if you go to an older one is can you get a collection, get all these XP boosts, and then have your guys all like being great roles all over the place.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now obviously that's a little bit harder with the different divisions. But was that your first non like U23 cards? Was that Urawa?
Could easily be, yeah. There might have been sprinkles of others that maybe like
Yeah.
aged out, but I would say that was the first core group of cards that, yeah, definitely would. I could, I, I mean, if we want to go way, way back, I didn't
Oh, we're
start in
going to go way
23.
back. We're going to go way back. This
All
is a
right. So if you,
segue to going way, way, way back.
okay, so
So
if you want to
go
go,
ahead. Go ahead.
if you want to go way, way back, I didn't start in under 23s. I started with champ cards. I
Like when you
came in
first came on the platform?
the first day I was in
Okay.
college, and I just finished training, and I had like 2 ETH in my Coinbase account, right? Which
Was it
was
like
like
cheap? Was it cheap?
two.
Hold on.
No, or was it cheap?
Was
So,
it cheap 2 ETH or really expensive 2 ETH?
I will let you in on. It's not even a secret, but basically, when I was 19, I broke my leg whilst I was in college in the UK, and I was sitting down. I watched a YouTube video how this guy put his life savings into Bitcoin. So this was 2017. So I looked on Coinbase, I downloaded the app, and I bought 2 ETH for $40 each. I still have the
There we
transactions on
go.
my phone.
There we go.
But
Yes,
I was
cheapy.
broke.
Cheapy.
Like I couldn't afford more than 2 ETH. I
Yeah.
had $90 to my name, right?
And you put
Um,
80 of it in Ethereum. Good for you.
Basically, yeah. My risk appetite, as you can tell, is rather high. But that then turned into like $1,000 a coin in
Right.
like peak 2017. Obviously, if you know crypto and stuff and been around, sold it, whatever, went into shitcoins. That was a whole different era. That was way before Sorare, right? Anyway, fast forward to my post grad in America, finished training, whatever, and I had 2 ETH laying down because I was like, I'm not like a trader guy. Like I just had some crypto. Like I won like trading in and out. Like I'm not into that at all.
Right. Right.
And then this obviously I was playing Football Index, making content, me,
Remember
John,
that.
Quinny, whatever. And yeah, I flew. It was basically just after COVID. So COVID just finished.
Yeah.
I was able to travel back to the US. January 19th was the day I signed up to Sorare. I probably bought my first card on that same day. Anyway, I'm literally in the parking lot. I remember being on my phone and I won a Lewandowski auction, a rare Lewandowski. Obviously, there's no
Oh.
limited. He wasn't my first card, but he was like the first card of like any significance. I
Hmm.
won a Kim Pembe. I won a off the auction. Nobody was selling cards at this point.
Right. Well, no,
Nobody was
you
selling
you
cards.
cheered you cheered the
If there
auction
was one
win.
on, yeah, but you
Yes.
would cheer if something came up on the marketplace.
Right.
Like
Right. It was
you
so
wouldn't
hard.
even. It was crazy. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
people
Kim
don't really
Pembe.
realize that. People that like are new
No,
don't
no.
realize like how hard it was to get a card that was like playing.
Like you're just alive, like
Right.
just breathing. But yeah, it was Kim Pembe. It was Lewandowski was half my budget. I paid like $900 for
Yeah.
Lewandowski, and I was like, why did I do that? But anyway, I was like, whatever, I've done it. And my idea was to go into Champ because those were the most recognizable cards to me at the time.
Makes
Because I was
sense.
playing Football Index, and that platform was mainly Prem top 5 leagues. So that was my knowledge base. I had no clue about Romelu or Douglas Santos, obviously, right? And yeah, bought a few champ cards. I had a rubbish goalkeeper. I had Jesse Moulin. I don't know if you remember him,
Hold
but
on.
he was a
I
Saint
don't
Etienne keeper.
I don't, but that also means that you were early if you had a crap goalkeeper. Like
I
we
had a
all been there.
shocking keeper. I also had Kaminsky though at one point, whilst he was at he
Oh
must
yeah,
have been
yeah.
at
But
he was at Blackburn at the time.
hasn't every OG had a Kaminsky?
I mean, if you
Like,
haven't, then you haven't lived, right? I
yeah,
still
I
have one.
don't. I'm
I
not an
have one
OG.
now.
They gave
Oh
me an
wow.
OG badge, but I never had a Kaminsky, so I'm not like actual
That's
OG.
insane.
I'm
So
like
he was
second wave.
challenger.
Yeah.
Was he challenger? Yeah, he would have been challenger at the time because championship was, I guess, still challenger. I
Okay.
can't remember. But anyway, I ended up playing like one champ lineup, one challenger lineup, and did I squeeze out something else? I can't remember. Anyway, and I just had no luck for ages. And I was like, I'm just not progressing here. Like I have
Right.
one really good card in Lewandowski, whatever, and he was scoring goals for Bayern, but like nothing else was clicking. Like I didn't grasp the game basically, Keith. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I was new to like games. I know that sounds stupid, but like I played Football Index. Yeah, there was a matrix, but it was just different, right? This was
Right.
way more complex. It took me months to like fully grasp the matrix, everything, right? And now like I think people are picking up in like a week, which is great because it shows how easy it's become, and also like I'm just it takes me a while to learn things. Like that's just the way it was. Anyway, that then turned into a random trade I had, where I got rid of my Lewandowski. I was like, you know what? I need to get rid of these like old. I don't know what I had like
Oh.
an epiphany. Yeah, I literally said, hang on a minute. Like Lewandowski's like say 30. I know he's smashing goals in, but like how long can he sustain this for? Like that was genuinely a thought. So I was like, I need to like diversify here. And the first thing that came to mind was buy younger guys. So I did a trade with somebody. I still remember the trade because I still have one of those cards left. It was Musa Diaby
Okay.
from Saudi. He was
I
under,
was gonna
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah. He was under 23. I had
Leverkusen,
Kapsoba,
right? Leverkusen at that point. Yeah.
Leverkusen,
Yeah.
two Leverkusen boys,
Okay.
Kapsoba, Diaby. It was a Florentino Luis super rare, which I still own to this day. I still have it. It's a 2018-19 card. And I'm being honest, I'm blanking on the fourth card right now, but I could obviously go back and look at it. But anyway, there
It's
was
okay.
423 cards, and that was my kickstart into under 23 basically. And even for ages then, I still didn't like win anything. Like I was just playing it, but it all came down to because like Ajax were just smashing in Challenger, and who Bayern was smashing in Champ, but I didn't have all the pieces. I had one piece, and I was in college. Like I can't afford cards. Like like I made a mistake. I rectified it, whatever, and I turned it all into this under 23 gallery that, ended up. I mean, the nickname Mr. Midweek
Yeah.
kind of came true because, I weren't able to compete on weekends. So where there was like, little niche midweeks where under 23 was always open, I was able to, do my scouting like you do, and 2 or 3 weeks before and go, you know what, that guy's in a smasher line matchup. I'm hoping it comes into fruition, and boom, I have a winning lineup where on the weekend there's no chance I'm going to do that.
And one of the things that I like every once in a while think back to like those really early days too, that's so hard to now conceptualize because now we technically have like these side rewards and boxes and all these different little things that you can do. Back then it was, I don't know what the percentage was, but it was like only like 20 rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to do insanely well to get like any reward. Now the kicker is we all undervalued at the time, but 200 points you get this nice little bit of Ethereum.
Oh.
We would all love to go back, but all it was cards because
Right.
a goalie costs you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
And you're just like, how can I could do that? So U23 was because you don't like old people. Got it. By the way,
Kind of,
when
yeah.
you get old, 37-year-old you're talking, you will realize you were wise beyond your years in terms of talking about like stuff like, oh, they're gonna get old eventually. Dude, it comes so fast. The pains.
I mean,
I
I'm feeling it now, Keith.
I
And like from 18 onwards, time just absolutely flies. You blink and
it
you're just
does.
27, and then you're 37.
But I will say I used to be like a fan of old guys, and now I see like he's 35. I'm like, dude, that dust is coming so fast. Like I've been too mean to you, Dusan. Like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like, I get it. I feel you. You're still doing so much better than I could ever do.
100%. I'm actually looking back now, Keith, on Sorare data.
Okay.
My first card win was in game week 136,
Okay.
which was Maxime Lesten, who was playing
Yes,
standard.
he was good.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was okay. He was a tier 3. I finished 40th, 348.82 points. So like I'm just looking here, and then I won another standard liège guy, Noah Destin, who actually plays now.
Yep.
He's
He's a
in
center back, right?
Switzerland.
Yep.
Exactly. They both
I
play
think
for
he takes
Liège.
pins. I think he takes
I think he's a
pins.
sneaky pen taker, right?
Yes.
That was game week. I'm just looking game week 139. So, and that was a tier 3 again. So, and then I won Nick Lima, who obviously still plays.
Yeah.
He was a tier 3, which is crazy. So I'm just looking here. The
But
first
tier
tier
three was the worst. Tier three was the worst tier two. We
it
should
would
say
have
that
been.
for
Yeah,
people
you're right.
listening. Yeah. Tier
Yeah, yeah,
three was the bottom barrel.
exactly that. But this was in. I'm looking at that was in Challenger. Then the next one was in All Star. So I was like, I'm not saying that's not success. At least, I mean, whatever. It's all relative, right? The first, I say, good card I won was All-Star Division 3. So this is game
Yep.
week 169.
And
So
for people to know, D3 at that time, that was Rare Pro.
that
So
was that was Rare Pro.
you could have played two supers. So did you play two supers at that time, or was
I
that
think I think I did. And you know
okay?
what? This is before the under 23 like surge. I played I went into Asia. I had an Asian Rare Pro lineup with like two supers. I'll have to go back and see the actual lineup. I can do that actually. 169 was the game week.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like I went into Asia after that because I noticed cards were cheaper and they still
Hmm.
score well,
Hmm.
but they're risky. And there was no like lineup projection. Like, like that didn't really exist
Yep.
back then, did it? You just
Yep.
went in blind, I think. So I finished 14th. It was Kim Jing Hyun, the Cerezo Osaka guy. He still plays now. Like he
Yeah.
say I had Thiago Martins captain, who's obviously at New York.
He used to be so good. He
He was
sucks so bad
amazing.
now.
Oh, so I think I said I had a stack. No, I didn't. I had Therathon Super Rare, who scored 69 points.
That was the
Holy.
left back guy, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Junamano, who everyone knows
Yep.
Junamano if you've
Yep.
been around. He was a super. He got an assist off the bench. And I
Okay.
had Nakagawa, who was a striker, and he only played 60 minutes and he didn't do anything. So like
Okay.
I finished 14th. If he would have got a DA, I would have won a star rare. But regardless, I won a goalkeeper, obviously.
Which
Hibbert
was
from
great
chat.
back then, though.
It was, yeah, no,
It
it
wasn't, and
was.
that's the funniest thing about the server rewards back then, and maybe even now. It's like you get a goalkeeper, and you're not happy at all, but at the same time, you're like, okay, I got a goalkeeper. Good.
I wanted more, like, because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's a tier one. It's my first tier one. Like I'd won one, two, three, four, five tier threes and one tier two before that. And then I went back to back tier ones. I won a Shoma Doi who I from Asia. Basically, I was like all-star Asia, and then it got into a stage where it was okay. So my first under 23 like card win was game week 206. So this is like we're talking 70 game weeks later. So like it took me a while to like
70
yeah,
weeks.
yeah, 136 to
Just like half a year.
206.
Just like half a year. That's
Just
all.
half a year, yeah. And I actually won Max Cohort, who I bought his super rare. It's on a
Oh,
leg
that's the guy
board.
that's like really good now,
Yeah,
right?
he takes
No, no,
17
no,
mil.
no, no. He's like the
He's pretty
left
good.
back, but
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
the
a
left back.
forward.
He's a forward. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm looking here. That was in D4 under 23. I finished 70th. He was a tier three. And then I went on a bit. I won like Theo Hernandez from Rare Pro under 23. And this is where like I kind of not like hacked it, but I was a bit like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing here. And then game week 230, I finished first in under 23 Red Pro. I won Cody Gakpo when he was in his pomp.
But
Like
like hundreds every weekend.
like serious Cody Gakpo. That was like
Like
PSV in
Liverpool's
his
gonna come after him. Like that
yeah, in
that
like a year. Like I had him, did I
Yeah.
sell him? I can't remember what I did, but
Hopefully you did.
I definitely sold him at one point. I either traded for him. But that was 230, and I'm pretty sure I'd love to go back on the date of that because I'm pretty sure it was around December time. And that does segue into something. So 230 takes us into, yeah, exactly. December. It was game week. It was literally Christmas. Like it was the game week over Christmas, 24th to the 28th, right?
Okay.
And I
Okay.
was I was at home back, back at my parents' house from college, and it was the Vinny Souza era.
Oh
So
my God.
I had Yari Visharan 100, Vinny Souza smashed like 58, Sergio Gomez 100,
Yeah.
three decisives,
Yeah.
Van der Voort. Again, Keith, this was a Mr. Midweek. This wasn't,
Yeah.
it was a full Belgium lineup. There was no like, no cards that, weren't playing in Belgium. I had Noah Lang as captain and he got sent off.
Oh,
I
I mean,
scored,
now that we know what a nutcase Noah Lang is,
right, yeah,
that
I
checks
didn't
out.
know that. I
That
didn't
checks
know
out.
that. 440 points on the dot as well, by the way, which is really like
Yeah.
no points over, like literally on the dot. And then a week later, I sold Vinny Souza for 11,000
So,
pounds.
quick question on Vinny Souza. Were you, was it you? Were you the creator of Vinny Souza? Because then it was what, you and then Pires?
So I think I'll be honest. I think I'll give the credit to Perez because I think he had
Okay,
it
I
even
knew it was
before
one
me.
of you two. I knew it was one of you two that were
Yeah,
like banging the
did he
drum.
have it before me though? I won it. Sorry, I bought it on the 1st of October 2021. Sold it in December for literally £11,122.
Super
I
rare.
bought it super and I bought it for 333.
11,000
I
pounds.
did some SofaScore scouting. I literally went on my phone. It
What?
was a Friday night, and I saw that he had like 5 tackles in like 20
Yep.
minutes. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like That's not normal. Goes on the market and there's a super for £300. And I'm like, you know what? At the time, you had to buy it because like
Right. You don't
that
have time. You don't
caused,
have time.
yeah, you got no
Yeah.
time. Obviously turned out to be literally the decision that completely changed my gallery, on the head completely. If without that happening, I don't like that was my first obviously under 23 win. If I didn't sell him for that amount of money, I don't buy Diego Costa. I
Right.
don't buy I had Tanny super rare for a bit, like the goalkeeper Tanny, who's
Yep.
smashing now. Don't have him anymore. But like that was the monumental moment. Like, yeah, game week 230. I win under 23 Red Pro. I win Gakpo. He was literally the best forward on the
Yep.
game at that point. And I don't know what
Best,
I
not just
definitely got.
forward. Hold on. Don't
Oh
say
yeah,
not
player
just
probably, yeah.
forward. Like if anybody wants to go look at the score charts, we're
I
not doing
know.
that
I
here.
want to actually
Hey,
go back and look.
go for it. But he literally was like 95. And the worst part, if I recall during that Gakpo time,
Yeah.
he had like he ended up getting sold in the winter, but he was supposed to get
Right.
sold in the summer, and he
Yeah.
stays, and he's just in like 90, 95, 100, like
He
Oscar type
was
of scores. But everybody was like, and these were like peak soda prices too. So like you're
right.
talking
He was
thousands of dollars. But it
expensive.
was always
Like,
like, when are you gonna get out? Like, when are you gonna get out? Like, are we gonna
right.
have like sometimes that happens in like December or November. You get that pre agreement with another club. It's like Liverpool is gonna November. You wake up for Thanksgiving. Liverpool is gonna sign him, and meanwhile his value is gonna tank.
Right. He I'm looking now. So if I want him in 230, to be fair, he didn't quit PSV until 322. So it was like 80 game week. So like
Oh, it
I
was.
didn't it was a while, but I didn't have him for then. I think I ended up cashing in on him because I just yeah, I think maybe because of his age as well at the time. He was like 1 year left, and I was the whole like I need a couple more years because I don't have the depth. So I definitely got rid of him. I can't remember how much, but yeah, that was if that doesn't happen, if that win doesn't happen, I never go on to
Isn't
play under 23 and love it as much as I did.
isn't that the craziest thing of like Silver though? I feel like for a lot of us that have been on the platform, especially if you didn't come in with whether you just like you could have come in with a big budget or
Right.
just couldn't, for lack of a
Sure.
better term. Like I literally feel like I've seen everybody. Like you have some whales that come on and are like, I'm gonna splash 100 grand right now, see what I can do. And then some people are like, all right, I got like $10. Can I do anything here? Um,
Now you
and it
can.
all I know that's the crazy thing, but it all comes down to like one game week or one flip or sell or something like that that just changes your whole fortunes. Isn't that crazy to
You
think about though?
It is, isn't it? And I'm trying to recall your moment. I remember you mentioning it on Led on a pod with Led. You'll obviously be able to tell me exactly the player, but you definitely mentioned a time where you were flipping like 10 plays at the same time, basically, or something like that. And it was one guy that popped them,
Well,
that
Brad
catapult.
Knighton, Brad
Was
Knighton.
it that was it was Brad
Um,
Knight? And yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
because I've actually I've deposited more money on this platform than I ever probably expected. But like I started out, I think I started with $500, which
Mhm.
back peak COVID, like I was a little bit before the boom, thankfully for me.
Yeah.
But you barely could put together a full lineup for 500. Like
No,
you couldn't really compete for threshold. You could not when I got on the platform, you could not afford a goalkeeper for $500. So
no,
you were
no
running a
chance.
common keeper.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I do you actually know, I'm a little off topic, but you know what my first card ever that I bought was to flip? I will give you a
MLS?
hint. No, no, I'll give you a hint.
Go on.
He's now probably the best defender on the game.
Wow.
And this is my first buy, Harry.
Not Bossagli.
No, better. Well, it was Grimaldo,
Wow.
but at yeah, it was
Who's he at?
Benfica.
Of course.
Benfica.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But like before, I don't remember the manager. Before he became like 100 every week, Grimaldo.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
I remember in like DFS, there's a I don't think he's on here anymore. But
Uh-huh.
I still remember Laird would have him on only to do Champions League slates. His name was Luis Pacheco. Um, and he would always talk about Grimaldo with the sweetest left foot, and he would take corner kicks and free
Right.
kicks, and it's like that's not that common for a left back. I remember I was able to flip him real quick, start building up the balance, and then able to officially eventually earn a goalkeeper. But then the Brad Knight thing, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that was kind of, I was just joking with Andy Black a couple nights ago. That was like peak so rare because you could really plan something ahead of time. Like there was I want to say it was Gold Cup was
Mhm.
coming up. Gold Cup was coming up, and at that time, Brad Guzan was no, I'm sorry, not Brad Guzan, Matt Turner. Matt Turner. I don't know why I said Guzan. Matt Turner, Berhalter had come out and said, "Yeah, we played Zach Steffen and the big things, but Matt Turner is going to have an opportunity to show us what he's got. He's earned that opportunity. He had just had like his first cap, so it was like known he was gone, and the backup old man Brad Knighton. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna buy as many of them as I can afford. Every time I complete a flip, I'm gonna take that money, I'm gonna buy Brad Knighton. And then I'm gonna take more money, I'm gonna buy Brad Knighton. And so I just had I think I ended up having like peak, I think I had like 13 or 14.
Wow.
And then it comes and the Gold Cup gets announced, the roster gets announced, and he's gone. And everybody's like, we used to call the graphs and sort of the middle finger graph.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, everybody wants Brad Knighton. I wonder how that happened. But like people didn't plan. There was like
Right.
very, very few people that would plan out. So,
Mhm.
that was like my moment that allowed. And then, probably much like yours, it's you get your Vinny Souza, but you still need the one more thing to occur. It's
100%.
enough for one thing to occur, but you have to do one more, which for me was underdog. Had people didn't plan for that event. I decided to buy a few cards. Bryce Duke for the first time in his life got 2 assists, and then Bastion Blanco. I never. It's so cool. It's such a cool game. I'll never forget that night that occurred because the whole time I'm watching the damn game, they go down in the box. Sebastian Blanco does not take PKs. And for some reason, the only time the entire season he goes, runs over,
No
takes the
way.
ball, somebody's trying to grab it from he's the captain. He's like, nope. And they're like, okay. And he bangs home the penalty.
Wow.
And I had bought him only for that game win.
You just need a bit of luck sometimes. Like,
Yeah, I think it's a convergence. This is something in life too. I think it's a convergence of luck, planning, and like sometimes doing the right things to be in the right opportunity, right? Like
yeah.
I agree completely with the luck part, but you have to go, okay, got lucky that he got a penalty.
Mhm.
If we're just purely looking at the game, got lucky that he got a penalty, but also he was home. Like if you're
Right.
an MLS fan, Portland Timbers at home is like a known like plus spot. This is against Colorado Rapids, who are actually half decent now, but they were terrible that
Yeah.
season. And William Yarborough, who I've had way too many experiences in my gallery with, is terrible goalkeeper. And so you go, okay, I'm going to put myself in a good position that I think there's a good chance that Portland scores 3 to 4 goals here. Really good shot that Blanco's part of one of them at least. And there you go.
Happens. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
You,
and
you,
then
you need your
Magic,
moment.
and then I'm gonna just mispronounce more things. How do you say Magic Mike's last name? I've never been able to say it.
I'd say mignon.
Oh, that's so much better than I would go.
I think.
I'm not even gonna say what was in my head, but
This is like new territory for me because people normally don't ask me for pronunciations. I'm the last guy in the world that they should be asking.
I'm
But
I'm behind you, dude.
yeah, but that's fine. This
If
yeah.
you watched my streams, but do you know? I'm gonna give you a pop quiz, and I want to go more about you. How much did I sell that goalkeeper for?
Like
Underdog
the
win.
wait,
How many?
wait, us.
How many ETH? I don't know what the dollar figure was, but
Ooh,
how many ETH?
2.1 for a rare goalkeeper.
Rare goalkeeper.
3.6.
A little bit higher was 4 ETH.
Holy
4 ETH.
moly!
And it probably was probably similar to your
Vinny was
amount.
4 ETH on the dot for
Yeah,
me.
so it's probably similar times, and then all of a sudden you have a budget to go, and you roll from there.
Oh, so you won min yeah, sorry, I got so confused then. You obviously
Oh
won
yeah,
Mignon. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
one hit, but then
I actually yeah, I vaguely remember you doing that actually.
yeah, yeah,
That was a he was a massive goalkeeper and he was like under minted because like AC Milan didn't have many mints and
yeah, and obviously champ, and I
right.
didn't have a champ gallery, so it makes sense.
Perfect. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
question: I want to go back to some of your history. Like,
Hmm.
so I know you were involved in a couple people that went from FI Index over here, but like, did they all just convince you to come in? And then also before that, so I'm gonna ask you two questions in one. How did you get over to sober? And then how did you get into streaming? Like when you're 19?
Yeah, yeah. So I got into football index.
Football content, by the way. I should actually say that. Streaming football, I feel like most 19-year-olds are streaming video games. Like you could have been a FIFA
Yeah.
streamer.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was nothing. It what like back then it was not streaming for me. Like I didn't stream then. I only
Okay.
started streaming like so rare, if that makes sense. I
Okay.
used to I used to make videos on Football Index. I had a 10K to 50K challenge video.
Okay. But why
Like for
why
10,
why did you want to do that?
um what I don't know, I just well, one of my good friends was playing Football Index. Like he doesn't make content or anything. Like literally one of my best friends from high school. And I was like, okay, what's this game thing? Like, what is it? And I was like, oh well, obviously I like football. I fancy myself to know a little bit about football. And I like at the time, like I didn't mind like an accumulator or stuff on, a parlay or whatever on the weekend, like as every 18,
Hmm.
19-year-old boy does. And I was just a
100%.
bit like, and like nobody, you have never win one. So it's just like, why don't I just go like I don't know, I just got kind of hooked on that concept of like a stock market for football. Because
Okay.
like I'm not like a traditional investor in that sense. Like I don't like the thought of investing in companies, if that makes sense.
Right. You
Like
don't
it's
want
just
to
at the
you don't
time
want to do that type of
boring.
research. You don't
Yeah,
want
it's
to do
just
that research.
boring. Yeah, yeah. Like
I
that's
want to
not my
research
knowledge base.
football.
Yeah, like I want to research what I'm good at, like what I know most, right? That's
Right.
that I felt comfortable doing that. Anyway, got into that. Like I was playing Football Index for a while, I think, before I even made content on Football Index. I started making YouTube content when I was 19, but that wasn't Football Index. That was like vlogs and like
Okay. So
that was
you
like yeah.
you were kind of doing stuff. You had like I kind of want to talk on a camera and see what happens.
So basically, if you want to strip it all the way back,
I do.
all I ever wanted to be obviously was a professional football player, right? As
Uh-huh.
most kids that play football do. I was in academies and like I was in and around the environment. Like I wasn't miles off it. I'm not saying I should have been pro because I shouldn't have been because I didn't make it. But like, I was in and around that environment from 6 years old. Like I
Okay.
played for Bristol City Academy, I played for Newport County Academy, whatever, right? Went all the way through and like, when you're like 16, 17, 18, at 16, I didn't get offered a scholarship, which would have meant like a 2-year scholarship to like make it pro. So
Okay.
I was like, I need to go back to school. Like I'm going back to school and just being a normal kid that still loves his football, but needs to study as well, which I did. So from 16 to 18, I did that, studied for like my, we call them A levels in the UK, which is
Okay.
like sixth form, which is basically the qualifications you need to go to college,
Okay.
right?
Makes sense.
You
Yeah.
can't, you can't go to college otherwise normally. So, 17, 18 onwards, you kind of realize that like you're not going to be a footballer at this point. Like I know
That's
I'm
what I was
good.
wondering.
Yeah, like I just had to realize it. Like I just knew that like people make it. Jamie Vardy makes it late. Like I never said like I never gave up because I was still taking it as serious as possible. At 17, I played Welsh schools, which is like the highest level you can play if you're playing in school, like outside
Okay.
of professional 17-year-olds. Like I was still good. Like I was still trying to be good and trying to be the best player I could be. But it was like, I know I'm not really going to make it at this point, but I
That
want to take it as far as I can take it,
right.
right? So, on that note, I ended up going to university at 19. I had a gap year. I worked in a school for a year, which is random, but I was a TA, teaching
Okay.
assistant. So I did one-to-one with an autistic 12-year-old for a year. Me and
Okay.
him, we do math and English every day together. We play chess. I teach him about football because like he wasn't really that sporty and like whatever, right? We had the best relationship. I loved it.
That's
Best
awesome.
experience of my life. It was actually that was 2016 because the Wales were in the Euros. So that's like giving you a time frame, the actual Welsh team. Anyway, complete that. And I was like, you know what? I do want to go to uni. So I went to university in Wales, but it was like, I wasn't going to play football, but the main reason I went to that university is because they had a really good soccer team. Like they won the UK championships, like
Okay.
for universities, whatever. Like a good team, and I knew a lot of the boys that were going there, and it meant that I could still play like semi-professionally in Wales, in Welsh League, which is like it's basically semi-pro. Like you get paid not very much to play football. And it's like the highest you can kind of play at, at that sort of age and whatever if you're not pro. Anyway, but I could do that whilst playing for the university team. So it was studying, and it was literally like going back to videos now. Like I never had any other passions, Keith, to be honest. All I cared about growing up was soccer. I didn't care about anything else. Like I was good in school. Like I'm not thick, but I wasn't like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I love history or I love geography. I loved math for some reason. I love mathematics. And I did like my A level maths and whatever.
But you
The
feel
only
like football
subject
more. Like
I
football a
love
little
football
more.
more than anything. Like, why would, yeah,
Exactly.
like, come on. Like, I wasn't like, I bunk off school. Like, I was a good kid,
Right.
but
Right.
it wasn't like my dream to be like a teacher or my dream to like do anything that like involves school in the nicest way possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was soccer, like all my friends, right? And I realized, like, I think most kids realize when you're, 17, 18, 19, that like it ain't gonna happen to the degree you want it to do, but to be. But let's see where we can take it. And at that point, I wasn't thinking about going to America. Like for some reason, having a scholarship at 18, I felt too young. Like I didn't want to leave home at 18, 19. That felt too young to me. So I stayed at home, went to college in Wales, sorry, played football, and at the same time picked up this hobby, Keith, that wasn't football. It was making videos. So I
It
only,
is okay.
like I'm sure, I don't know, your kids obviously pretty young and stuff, and I'm sure they watch. I don't know if you let them watch YouTube, right? I don't
Too
know.
much. Too much. Yes.
Right. So when I was a kid, obviously I'm 27. I didn't grow up watching YouTube.
Right.
I discovered YouTube at like 19. So like I wasn't that early to it. There was the FIFA YouTubers that like I was
Yep.
like, what are these guys? And whatever, KSI. Like I grew up with it, but it didn't. I wasn't like 14 growing up with it. I was more like 17, 18,
Right.
19. And I was like, you know what?
I can do
Like
this.
I'd love to share my passion, which is soccer, football, with these people online somehow. Anyway,
Like that.
and I could never really found my niche for years. It was like I try like challenge videos, and I try like I don't know, I made like an ice soccer ball, and you're like kicking it and whatever, right? They're all privatized, these videos. One day I might bring them back.
Yeah, we do.
Um,
We need to see that one.
maybe, because like yeah, and my dream was always to get 10K subscribers. Like I remember like thinking like that was like everything to me. But like I was half-assed in it. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
all in, right? I was in college. I was playing for two soccer teams. It was like it's just a hobby, which whatever, right? Which is fine. But the first like video I made was my my. So I went on holiday with my best friends at 18. We all finished high school. We got on a lads' holiday, we call it in the UK.
Okay.
I don't know what the American equivalent is, but you
Dude's
basically go.
weekend. Dude's weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is like 10 days, not yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Dude's trip, I guess.
this trip, but we went to Zante, which is I think it's in Cyprus, I believe. I could be completely wrong. My
It
geography
was
isn't
that good
great.
of a trip. You're not sure what country it was.
Let me check. Zante. Pretty sure it's
Hold on. We're
Greece.
2 for 2 on this show of people
Yeah,
going
it's Greece.
to
It's
say
Greece. It's Greece. It's Greece. I'm
because
sorry.
Laird was last week. He kind of
Go
doesn't
on.
remember anything that happened in Netherlands.
Fair, but like,
We're 2 for 2
yeah,
on
we're two
losing
for two.
weeks.
I've matched laid there, but we went to Zante, and I bought the oldest GoPro you could ever imagine. I
Yep.
still own it. I own it somewhere, and it's this massive block with obviously a little camera and whatever. And I filmed the whole trip, and I put it on like Facebook, and I put it on YouTube, and I was
Okay.
just like, I just fell in love with like storytelling.
Doing stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but like with my buddies, and we're having fun, and it was just nice. You know what? It wasn't even like I want other people to see this. It was more like I want to remember this
Yeah.
time.
Well, just
So like,
you're rooting for fun, man. That's
kind of, yeah, but like it wasn't like at the time that was like a weird thing to do, Keith. In a weird,
sure.
like,
Sure. No, I get it.
like none of my buddies were wanting to film like,
Right.
I've always wanted to do weird things,
I can see that.
weird by this, like by the sense of like my buddies aren't doing it as well.
Right.
None of my buddies wanted to make videos. I can tell you
Right.
that for free, right? Um, yeah. So it was just, but like I think they were grateful because of it, because we captured so many funny moments. Like my
Yep.
friend fell off. I know it sounds crazy, but my friend like jumped off this cliff. We were all doing it, and it was like whatever, 50 foot. But he like the way he's done it is like the funniest thing ever. I'll actually try and find the clip for you, but it's like hilarious. Like his legs are everywhere, and we just laughed about it for years, as you can imagine, and it's a
Right.
memory for life. And at that point, like I don't know how many subscribers I had or whatever, but I fell in love with something that wasn't football, if
That's
that makes
awesome.
sense.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't all in. I've never been all in because I couldn't afford to be in that sense. Like I always was in college, or I was always
Right.
playing football. Like I was never. I'm always been that guy that like I love doing loads of different things. Unfortunately, and that it's like a jack of all, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, master of none, jack of all trades.
Yep.
And it was kind of that for ages. From like 19 to 21, which I graduated college, like back home. I did 3 years. I did my degree. I did it in business. Like I did like a marketing degree. I didn't do like a sports degree.
Yeah.
It
Complete
was like
waste. So I have a marketing
oh,
degree
it's
too.
complete waste. Yeah.
It's a
Complete
piece of
waste.
paper that says, "Hey, if you hire me or let me try something, I can complete it." That's
Exactly.
literally what it means.
Literally. And that summer, so it'd have been like 20, it'd be like summer 2019 or 2018 when I graduated. I was like, well, what do I do? I'm 21. Like, what do I do in my life? So I
I'm
applied
not
for a
good
few
enough football
jobs.
player to.
Yeah, like
I've had
I
that
was
realization.
yeah, like I was
Okay.
I was training 3-4 times a week, like getting paid a little bit on the side for football, but it wasn't
But
enough to like live off,
right.
right? Um And basically, I was training at my college before I'd graduated, and this agent came in from Future Elite Sport, which is just an agency that sends kids to America, basically, and basically said, "Does anyone like fancy a scholarship to America?" And at this time, I hadn't a
Oh,
clue what I wanted to do, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know, that sounds fun. I don't know. I don't really want a job right now. Like I'm not ready for the real world.
right.
Like who wants to grow up?" And I ended up chatting with him, like he watched us train, and he was like, "Okay, you know what? We think you might have a chance. Come to a showcase, and we'll see if you're good enough, basically. So they'll show you in front of hundreds of college coaches with like live streamed and people in person, coaches in person. So I traveled down to Slough, which is in England, and I went to a showcase. I played an 11v11 game, and yeah, you either get offers or you don't. And
Okay.
luckily, I had a couple of different offers, and one ended up being in Jefferson City, Tennessee,
There it is.
and that was yeah the moment that like I had a contemplation basically, Keith. It was I had a grad scheme lined up with General Dynamics, which I don't know if you know, they're like they basically make tanks and stuff. Like they're like
Oh, geez. Okay.
yeah,
They're
like
like
they're an
that.
American company. Like yeah, it's like a like defense company basically.
Okay.
I would have basically done a rotation for 2 years, like accounting, tax,
Yeah.
business, whatever.
You've been miserable. I got
I'd have been miserable for 2 years.
it.
It was like a £25,000 salary, which was like at the time that was a lot of money for me. Like
Yeah.
at 21, like that's good money
Yeah. No, that's
for
enough to make
anyone.
you think
Yeah, that
about
was enough to
this.
me to go, hang on a minute. And they would have paid for
Yep.
my masters. They would have paid for all this stuff, right? And I'm not like I said, I'm not the cleverest in the world. Like I'll never put myself down as like the most intelligent person in the world, but I'm a decent speaker in front of people, and I had to do a presentation in front of these like executives or whatever to get the offer. 300 people did it, and I was one of three. So a little pat on the back that got offered this opportunity, right? Which I'll be honest, I swear on my life, there's no way I thought I was going to get it. I was sitting next to some guy, and I was like, "Oh, what's your name, mate?" He's like, "Oh, I'm from London, really posh accent, right? I'm some
Yeah.
kid from
Yeah.
Cardiff, right?" The interviews were in Cardiff, so he travelled down. I was just chatting with him. He's a really nice guy. And I was a bit like blown away because he was a bit older than me, and I was like, "What have you been up to? Like, you're not in college and or like just finished." And he was like, "No, I've been working for Land Rover. Like, I'm an engineer." And I was like,
Okay.
"Oh my god! Like,
Great.
how am I supposed to compete with this guy? Like, he's just gonna blow me out of the water, right? Like, surely to God." I mean, he might have got offered the job. I don't know because I didn't speak to him ever again. But I know I was one of three, and
Awesome.
I had to tell this lady on the phone that I've been offered this opportunity to go to America. I'm not going to earn any money doing it. Obviously, it's a scholarship. I mean, I'm not having to pay to go there in some ways, but ultimately, I'm not getting a wage to go there. Like I'm not getting
Right.
paid
Right. Right.
25 grand a year to do this. And I wasn't ready to grow up, Keith. To be honest, I was happy to go out to America and pursue, like I said at not the start, but 20 minutes ago, it was how far can I take this football thing? Now, I know I've been speaking for a long time, but I need to
No,
go
you're
back.
good.
I need to go back like from 19 to 20 years old. I broke my leg twice in 6 months. Two separate occasions. I did my tibia once and my fibia the other time. One's playing for my university and one's playing for my semi-pro team. Literally, like it was crazy. Like I didn't think I'd play again, to
Was
be
it
honest.
same
So
leg?
same leg,
Oh,
yeah. I know it was tough. So like one was it wasn't a complete snap. I didn't need any operations, luckily, but it was like I broke two bones, right?
yeah.
Anyway, recovered from them, bought two Ethereum, obviously, and the rest is history. But no, like I genuinely, if I didn't break my leg twice, I don't know if I would have like wanted to go to America because I wouldn't have had anything to prove in a weird
Right.
way, even though it sounds amazing, like why would you turn that down? But like because I'd missed out on, let's say, a year's worth of soccer, and that was in like my final year of college back home,
Right.
it was like, oh man, like if I
Want
can
a little bit
extend this
more.
for 2 years, yeah, let me just squeeze out, extract as much as I can from what I've got because I know I'm not gonna make it, but like I know I'm good enough to play of a decent standard.
Right. Right.
Let me get an education at the same time, which I ended up getting a master's from it. Again, they give them out in cereal boxes these days, especially MBAs. So I'm not saying I'm not saying it was like the best school in the world to go and get an MBA from, but regardless, it was part of,
You have
I
it.
couldn't, yeah, I have it. I couldn't have played football without it. So it's one of
Right.
them where like, I'm happy I've done it. I don't regret it
I
at
mean,
all.
I'll say this. I don't think there's many people that can say I have a master's because of football.
I guess not. No, I mean, a lot of my friends do because I played soccer with them. But yeah, I guess.
I would assume you in my circles and things like that, and I've been up and down before being self-employed, corporate
Yeah,
ladder.
yeah.
That's not a very common thing.
I
Not
guess
super
not.
common.
No, especially yeah, especially for like especially kids from the UK. Like going to America is like a
That's
big
awesome.
thing,
Yeah.
and like for me anyway. And like my dad was a decent football player himself. He represented Wales like young as like 16. He got caps. I didn't represent. Like he was on paper you could argue better than me maybe, but I will never tell him that. Um, but no. So basically, I'll bring it. So he almost went to America himself as a kid, but he had no money basically. Like his family, like at the time, they didn't really come from too much, and yeah, they just couldn't afford it. So like,
Cool.
I think I got to live my dad's dream, or like my dad got to live my dream,
Yeah.
or whatever, through
There
each
we
other,
go.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he didn't come out to like. My dad's still my dad, like he's still around, but like he didn't come out and watch at all. But like he used to watch every live stream, and like it was the best time in the world, right, Keith?
That's
But
awesome.
COVID hit, so I didn't get 2 years in America. I got 13 months. I think I squeezed out. I got the fall that I got there. I got there in fall 2019.
Okay.
I've still got my little ring here.
Okay.
We were conference champions like the first time I got there. So I'm like instant success. Like wow, this is cool. Like amazing. Let's do this again. COVID hits in the March, and I'm on a beach in Miami and spring break, and I go home to the UK for 11 months. Then I did my MBA
Did
at
you
home.
get sent back? Did like they tell you you had to
The
go
school
back
was
or
closed, so no, I could have
okay, so
stayed
you're
in the
like I have
US.
nothing.
Yeah, why am
I
I?
don't have much here. Yeah.
Exactly. I
Okay.
had nothing there, and I was like, I need to like let me just go home then. So we weren't training, so it was like we're not doing anything here. I can do this online. So I went home for 10 months, and I went back out in January 21, which is where the sorare that's when sorare like started for me. That was when Football Index kind of died, and sorare took over. It's been a whirlwind, like
Yeah, dude. Like
yeah, it's been a lot. Like but
and
like
it,
I'm so grateful for one, the opportunities I've had, but two, like I'm so glad that 21-year-old me was able to say, Harry, like follow your dreams. Like
hell yeah.
don't succumb to like having to get a job right now type of thing. If you don't need it. Like it's not as if like my parents don't come for money. Like I'm not like, I'm not I have no silver spoon.
Not well, I was just gonna say too, until the next Vinny Souza comes. Then
Right, yeah. I need a couple more Vinny Suitors, and we'll start to cook. But like, yeah, I didn't come from much, and my parents helped me so much during college. Like they helped me pay my rent because
that's
like
awesome. Yeah.
you're not allowed to work in the US if if you can do 20 hours basically if you're a student. Anyway,
Yeah.
but when you're playing every day, like it's just impossible. Like you're literally training every day and playing twice a week. It's just you can't really fit a job in there.
Now I remember at UF I knew a few football players and things like that that
Mhm.
weren't now it's of course like okay for people to be paid in college, but back then
Right,
it wasn't. But there was some help. Let's just put it that way. But like
100%.
the guys that weren't the top guys that were
Exactly.
on football teams that were numbered like 70 downward or on walk-ons, like you said, the 20 hours, but then you'd have to be at 5 a.m., be there for training. It was crazy to see how much work they had.
So
It's
much, man.
fun.
But like, yeah, but luckily, like, I got my tuition paid for, so we didn't have to pay for
Yeah,
my
it's great.
tuition, which was great.
You got a cool
Luckily,
ring. Got
I
a
got a
cool.
cool ring.
You got a really cool piece of paper that says you're a master. That's cool too.
Yeah, somewhere. I don't even think I have it in my belongings right now. But yeah,
I
no, I
love that
had.
it didn't make your wall. The jerseys
Oh
and the boots
no.
made.
I no, this is embarrassing. But so my graduation day was on my birthday. Okay,
Okay.
May 7th, 2021, 2021. I went to Vegas instead, Keith.
I mean, isn't it weird that I didn't walk? I didn't walk for my degree. That like somehow like it's like what you work so hard for, but then it's not that important. That makes
Like
any sense?
my parents
Like
weren't going to be there.
my high school graduation was bigger deal than my college one,
Yeah, that's a
personally
big
for
thing
me.
out here, which we can get into. But like high school is like a big thing out here,
Yeah,
which yeah. But like no, my parents weren't going to come out. Like they didn't have the funds to
yeah.
come
You're
out.
just like
Yeah, so like who am I working for?
yeah,
They saw me graduate 2 years before. Like they saw the
yeah.
bachelor. Like who cares, right? Like no one
Harry, we
cares.
expected this from you. Come on, man.
Right, yeah, let's just get on with it, right? Anyway, I ended up going to Vegas with no money and coming back with no money as well. So, but it was worth it because
Yeah.
Vegas was fun. That was the first time I'd ever been there, and I was stuck in Tennessee for like, not that
I
that's
was
a
gonna
bad thing.
say if you go from Wales to Tennessee,
Tennessee,
Vegas
to
Vegas is
Vegas.
something else. You're like, what is this?
Yeah,
This doesn't
yeah,
exist.
mate. Tell you what, like, so yeah, spring break was my first taste of like not Tennessee, Miami, obviously,
Yeah.
and just before COVID, and that was obviously amazing. That was the first time I'd like traveled outside of the US, outside of Tennessee. But as a kid, I know you can relate to this. The only place I'd been to was Florida. I
There you go.
Yeah, Florida. Obviously, Disneyland as a kid. My parents, yeah, I love them to bits. The biggest thing they kind of did for me and my sister was give us opportunities,
Yeah.
that to travel the world. They weren't able to save thousands of pounds for us,
Ah, they
like
made
so.
it work though.
But they did things that like money can't. Oh, they can buy, but like you can't really buy those memories if that makes sense.
It
Like
does. It does.
it does, right? Like I'm sure you've got kids now, and I'm sure it's a similar thing. But like they wanted to give us, yeah, they wanted us to see the world basically, rather than it be in our bank account, which
No, I
I
get
don't
that.
I don't regret like that for them in that sense. I think I'd do the same for my kids as well, to be honest. Like you can't take it with you at the end of the day. Yeah, it can help you. Like money can help you and set you up and whatever, but ultimately you can't take back that time. Like that time
Nah.
happened, and like yeah, I've been lucky in a lot of ways. Like I've been very fortunate, but I've also worked hard for bits as well, and yeah, that's kind of always been my thing. Like I've never wanted to stop. Like I can't stop. I think
No, no,
I've
that's
never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I've got something, whether
that's
that's ADHD, whether that's on the spectrum of some sort. Maybe it's I don't know. Is it like an athletey thing where like you just I don't
won't
know. It's just
stop.
like you. I don't know. I just like you're always tracing that like imaginary dragon, whatever they call it, right? It's like that
No, I mean, there's
fallacy of
just it could definitely be like athlete or, you know, even just some people just in because I'm my wife's I'm trying to think of what she said a couple of nights ago. She
yeah,
was like, I've been watching you for the past few hours. She's like, you don't sit down or stop or just like relax and smell the roses, so to speak. I'm like, no, I would feel like I'm wasting my time. Like
right.
I want to do something. I want to produce something. Sounds like you have a similar gene as I
Little
do.
bug. Yeah, I think it's a bug, isn't it? Like you've either just got it or you've not. You
I
kind
just
of
you just want to,
don't.
yeah, maybe it's like building. I don't know. Hey,
I think more.
maybe that explains why
Yeah.
we like so rare too, right? Because you're
Oh,
always like
100%.
building towards something or like, all right,
Scouting and.
what's my next little chess piece here? What's my move?
Hmm.
So what's your next?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move a little of the history because we're almost done. But what's
Go on.
your next move on so rare?
Ooh, yeah. Um,
Like, what
I
do you
think
think
it's.
you're working towards?
I think I'm working towards building like a gallery to where years ago I would never I could never afford to have an abundance of like good cards, quote unquote. Like I could have 5 good cards, not like 35.
Yeah.
Where now we're at a stage where like I've compounded and I've kept things in and I've recycled things and I've won things, I've lost things, whatever. And it's got to the point now where like I used to be like envious of people that had like so many different lineups, but like they were
Yep.
like good lineups. They weren't just duds. And I think it's just a case of like enjoying the game to the
Yep.
fullest, like for as long as possible. Like I'm not in it to like retire. Like like
Right.
I'm in it to make content because I love the game. I love talking about the game. I love scouting the game, and I love sharing that with other people.
Yep.
Which is why I came to make my channel literally just Sorare based. And ultimately I need my gallery to like kind of win me things and in some ways for like content as well. Like, I need
Yeah.
it to like
I
like
feel that.
I do think sometimes for the whole point of videos, right? Like what my strategy is here and whatever. Like I do kind of have to not have to, but I choose to do that. I don't think it puts me at a detriment, but no, honestly, I don't have like a specific thing that I want to target. Like maybe it's like have more champ cards. I know that's really like specific maybe, but like I had a bit of success on the weekend with that niece collection that I built.
I thought about you as that was happening. I was like, are they gonna stop scoring?
Yeah,
Because it was like what
I was
like
watching the
what was
stream
that? It
like,
was like
hang on a
six
minute.
zero and like not even
It was
it was
it was
crazy.
wild.
I know it was 4-0 in the 20th minute. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I turned on the stream and I was like, hang on a minute. Like this can't it's Friday night. Like we're cursed on Friday nights. We don't get
Like,
eight
yeah,
nil on a Friday night, like that was an anomaly. But yeah, I think I just want more cards I can enjoy,
I
like
like that.
yeah, I just want to enjoy the game more and more and more. Like I don't want to like take from that, you know. Like I love football. Like
Yeah.
I love scouting. I love like I think me and you relate quite heavily in like how we like to play the game. Yeah, like you said, I have some good cards. You have some good cards, but
Yeah.
like there's no fun in just having all the good cards.
No, it's kind of fun to have like all your good cards together and like an actual hope. Like, hey, if all everything goes right here, maybe I can actually like win this whole competition. That would be really cool. But
Yeah.
then it's also like, ah, let's see if Diego Lorente can pull off an 80 here, and then be like, why the hell does he have like? I kind of get some kicks off of like
Oh
that
man.
part of like just I don't even know if it's like being it's definitely like not being the smart guy in the room. It's definitely not that. It is much more though like I think it's back to what you just said. It's almost like it's an outworking thing. It's like the
Mm.
easy thing to do, lazy thing to do
Boring.
is that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I could go dig just a little bit, just a little bit. Maybe they don't realize this is a good matchup. I think it's something like that. It's just like it feels like you got some sweat labor out of it or something of that nature. I'm not sure. I really can't I can't put it.
Yeah, but I think it makes the wins, the good scores from that guy like so much more
Oh,
valuable because you know it doesn't come round every other game. This is like every 8 games or every
oh.
6 games.
You
So when you hit it, it's like, oh my god, like I knew that was gonna happen. Like, and I've timed it. Like, pat on the back. Like I did that. Let me see if I can do it again with this guy in Germany or Spain or Austria or wherever. And is you're chasing that all the time.
you know what I think I was talking about this is it kind of got in my head. I actually think it might be at least for me. I'm curious if it's for you, but it's because of you know I wasn't like as early as you, but I was still pretty early. And I remember one of the first cards I ever like was like I don't think anybody realizes how good this guy is. And then I looked at the prices and I looked at nobody ever talking about him. And I think I might have DM'd Laird or Sean or somebody like that. I'm like, do you know who this guy is? And they're like, I think I've heard of him. Was Teddy Tuma when
Ooh.
USG just got promoted.
Yeah.
And it's this, and I still remember I was still learning the game too. And I remember on a stream, Sean and Laird talking about how the actual cheat code, which is funny because Vinny Souza's sort of there, but
Yeah.
the biggest cheat code of the game is having a like central midfielder that tackles a lot and is super active that's also on set pieces. If you can get that, you've built like a great floor. The guy's going to always get you 20, 25 AA. And then
Mhm.
when he gets a decisive, you're shooting for 100. And that was Teddy Tuma at the time.
Mate, he was a freak,
I
wasn't he?
had no idea USU was going to be good. If I
No,
did, I was going to
I
like
think they got promoted and won the league
they
like
did.
off the back,
It's
which is
it's the
rare.
actual like Leicester City
Of Belgium.
Cinderella story that probably never like it could actually be a thing in Europe that people talk about it. I'm assuming it never gets talked about here, but like
Yeah,
I want to say they either won it that year or they got to because isn't it technically like playoffs when you
it
get to
is.
the
But I
end?
think they won the regular season.
They
Like,
won
yeah,
the regular
they might not have
season.
won
They did not
yeah,
win
the
they were
playoffs.
like overmatched because they it's actually complete crap now that I'm thinking about it loud that they pack those playoff games like
Yeah,
it's like game weekend, midweek, game, midweek.
for like
And
6 weeks.
right, for
Yeah,
6 weeks against the top four.
the best teams. Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
then, USG's over there overperforming, and they're like against Club Bruges is like, dude, we got 20. We got 20 guys that can play here, and it's not a huge drop off. And
Mhm.
USG's like, we've got 8. People
Yeah.
thought Casper Nielsen was really good because of how we made him look. And then he gets to transfer to Bruges and he's never seen the pitch again. Or Dante Van Zee. Yeah, I think that's how you say his
Yeah, he
name.
was he was amazing,
He
wasn't he?
can't even get a goal
I
in the
know.
MLS.
I know. It's I watch him play
I thought
now
he was
on
going to be
MLS,
great.
and I thought, yeah, I thought he was going to be insane. But like, I watch
He's
and I
so
think,
bad.
how in the world did you score that many goals in that
He's so
team?
bad.
He's horrible to watch though, like aesthetically. I'm just like, I don't know how you scored like 20 plus goals in the Belgium league. I don't. It's crazy actually that one.
But he had like a lot of assists on top of that
He was
too.
insane.
It's
Was Mitoma there at that point, or was that later?
I think he
I think
was,
he
but
was. He went
he
on loan, didn't
wasn't.
he?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if I remember right, because I couldn't afford him or anything at that point, but like I think they were weird because the left winger was the left
Mhm.
wing back. I actually thought was their best player before I like dug into it was a Loic Lapulesen, I believe is how you say his
Yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah. I think he's
And
still in the league, isn't he?
yeah,
Pretty
he's
sure.
injured right now.
Yeah.
But that's like definitely like one of my so rare teams that I would never know anything about, but I kind of love him now. But
Yeah.
he when they first got on the platform, they released their cards. I think the first two games he dropped like 80s, but with like
Mm,
50 AA in each
wow.
one because of tackles, like tackles and
Mhm.
duels. And
Yeah.
Tuma hadn't done all that well yet. And so Loa
Ah,
got really expensive. But then I looked at the set pieces and I'm like, oh, he doesn't take them. It's this guy
this
from
other guy.
Malta. And this is like shameful to admit. I probably wouldn't have bought Tuma if it wasn't for an international fixtures coming up. And I'm like, oh, he starts for Malta.
Yeah.
Oh, I can have a chance at threshold in the midweek.
I I honestly think I did. I think I flipped two Tumas at that point.
So funny.
I remember there being two rares on the market when like he might have had his first DA maybe when like
Okay.
he was playing or whatever, and I was like, hang on a minute, this guy's 40 quid, and it was like when cards shouldn't be 40 pounds, like he should be
Yeah.
200. And
Right.
I think I flipped
Because his
one for
scores
like
were really good. Like
yeah,
it,
he was
but he hadn't
insane.
had the DA, but like it was like he was getting 60s with no decisive. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the
And
time,
that's
like
go ahead.
yeah, if you didn't get a DA, like you weren't really like in the conversation as a midfielder anyway.
Right,
At the end
right.
of
Well, and you know what I always think about him too? Teddy Tuma always and forever just
the
looks
yeah,
like a badass.
he's such a beast. I know
Just like
tattoos and yeah,
tattoos, the bald head, goatee, and you're
yeah.
just like, that is my freaking guy.
But he has like a beautiful. I'm pretty sure he's left-footed, and he
He's
just has like
left-footed.
the most
Yeah,
beautiful technique. Like his long shots, he would just like smack them from like 30, and just like
he's
whoa, whoa,
just
whoa, whoa.
he he's
Guy's a
just
beast.
he's just a
Yeah,
hero. So
I love
sorry to
him.
go on a Teddy Tuma tangent, but
No,
it's
I was
just
a
a
Tuma guy as well. I didn't never get a super rare in though. That was too much. That was. I think I remember like vaguely remember thinking like when I bought those two rares, I didn't have the balance for. I think there was a super up. Obviously, I didn't end up getting it. But yeah, did you have a super?
I still do. I still do.
Wow, you
Yeah,
still
that's
have it.
I don't we don't have time for that story. That maybe that'll be another time. But no, I mean I'll tell you the craziest thing. Maybe we can end closer to this, but like we all obviously have like our regrets and everything on the platform. Silver is such a weird game that there's actually cards that you don't feel okay getting rid of.
Oh,
That's like the weirdest thing. Like I've had in that now, like that card's not worth much at all.
right.
But just like if you think about these cards, that you're just like, I just enjoy. Like we had good memories. This JPEG, I had such good memories with you.
Mate, I can't relate to that anymore because like I mentioned, that Florentino Luis Super 8 is still in my
I
gallery.
still remember.
I've had it since day dot, and I think I got offered once nearly 40 for it. I was in the car, my buddies just picked me up, and I remember being in the back seat, and I literally remember going, why would I accept this? Like he's under
10
23 for another
grand?
season. Like I'm gonna
This
smash it with him. Yeah.
guys. I know you probably can't relate to this, but
Yeah,
this
like come
dude
on now.
wants me to let go of this JPEG for $10,000.
Oh, I know.
Why
I
would I
know.
do that?
Why would I do that?
I wish I
Oh,
could reverse the time, like when we were telling, like this is why we needed our solar community so bad to like justify how stupid.
I know. At that time, yeah, I wouldn't have like obviously I was making videos, but I didn't have like a Discord. I didn't have like for a long time, I was like a lonely player in a long way, in a
Okay,
weird way. You know, like I
yeah, I
didn't
get
have a
it.
community to speak to. Like
I
even though I'd make videos, but when I first started story videos, not that this will take long to get through, but I was just talking about my game week, but I didn't even have a face cam because I didn't have a camera. So I was in my dorm room. I didn't have a dorm. I had like we had an apartment base or
uh-huh.
like a house, shared house. Five of us lived there, and I had a little mic, literally like a little USB mic, and I had my laptop, and I'd screen record, and I literally just talk over it, like of my gameplay, how my week went. That was the start of my Sora like
Oh,
content, and then
crazy.
I had the money to buy a Mac, basically like a desktop, whatever. Bought a monitor, and the kind of the rest is history type of thing
That's awesome.
in YouTube. But like, yeah, this Florentino Luis, I think I might go to the grave with it. I think
Yeah,
I might. Like at this point, why would I sell him? Like he's won me Rare Pro however many times. He's the most beautiful 2019, 2020 card.
he's
Um,
beautiful to you.
he's
You're
beautiful.
just
He's
like,
level
I
20,
mean,
Keith. Come
I
on.
think I'm going with my Teddy Tuma. Like, I think
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? It's more of a dignity thing though. Like I think you end up being less of a man if you sell him.
It's just like he probably doesn't have that before. I feel like I would almost have to like DM him on Twitter, like Teddy, I'm so sorry. Like
Like this is a tough breakup for me. Like I know.
you're still a legend to me, but I'm gonna sell your JPEG for $50. No,
Keep him. I'll give you the $50.
I'm keeping this thing. All
Yeah,
right, we.
I regret. I actually regret like getting rid of some of my like older cards. You know, like my legit like day one cards. I wish I had like one of those
I wish
rares left.
I will tell you, and we'll close to this. I have one more thing at the end to close to you on. There's always on the show, by the way, for the viewers. I'm gonna promise I will do my best to always have a zinger to end on. Laird's was have you always called Laird? I have one for you at the end. But I God, I'm trying to think. I lost my train of thought when I was thinking about that. Damn it. Let me try and think
That's
of it.
okay.
By the way, despite being just being recorded, it's still
Yeah.
like acted like a live stream. But oh, where was I going with it? I don't know. I'm gonna go for my zinger. We'll end with my zinger. Walk us through, because now it's been a while and you probably haven't talked about it since. I want to know the worldie at Anfield. Go. Just all of it. You got like 2 minutes. Give me a 2 minute worldie at Anfield.
I mean, yeah, the opportunity was mental, just as like an overall, thank you to Sorare first. But we walk into Anfield. I've got Jimmer in a fucking full kit. Jimmer, Liverpool, socks up to his
Yep.
knees,
The only
walks
way.
through the
The only way.
walks through the front door, and I'm thinking, what in the world have I just got myself into? Like, this must be some sort of like joke or something. Like, but I knew Jimmer before that because I think we met in Orlando. We must
Uh-huh.
have, yeah. And so like I knew him, but didn't know him that well anyway. And obviously Black was there and stuff. And yeah, we're just waiting to get sort of escorted into the changing rooms at fucking Liverpool, right? And I'll be honest, I'm not, I don't support anyone. Like I
All
support
right.
Wales. I don't support a team. But my uncle, my mum's brother, is a massive Liverpool fan, like massive. Loved them ever since he was a kid. It's probably similar to yourself, maybe. I'm pretty sure you like Liverpool as well.
Yes.
And it was just crazy that like I don't know, man. Like I'm seeing the Anfield sign. Like I watched Barclays Premier League as everyone did for the last 25 years, and Steven Gerrard hits the Anfield logo or the little plaque, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like I'm doing what the pros were doing. Like Steven Gerrard has touched that. And then you've got like Robbie Fowler walking in and he's making cocaine jokes. We're making
Oh,
cocaine.
yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. It's in. I think it's still in my. Is it in the vlog that I made? Did we put that in? Someone said something like, "Oh, I don't know." It was mentioned, and there
Yeah,
was a laugh.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was amazing. I walk in though, and I've seen like Lawrence McKenna, who I don't know if you might not know him, but
Mhm.
basically he was like quite a big YouTuber. He still does YouTube now, but he was part of a YouTube channel called The True Geordie. I don't know whether you've heard The True Geordie. He's
I
a
don't know if I heard
big
that.
6'5" bald guy from
Okay.
Newcastle. He still makes content like he's huge, millions of subscribers. They had a podcast basically, and this Lawrence McKenna fella was in like on the opposite team. I'm playing against Lawrence. Like I've watched this podcast for like years. He's a really intelligent guy from London. Like he's a top guy. Never obviously met him. Like I've never been in this sphere. I've got him against me. It was just crazy. And then yeah, obviously get on the pitch. No one wanted to play at the back, so I was like, you know, I fancy myself as one of the better players in my team
Right.
here. I don't care where I play as long as I'm on that field. I couldn't care. Get me in goals.
Right.
I'm rubbish at goals, by the way. But like, play me anywhere. I've never played centre back in my entire footballing career,
Hey,
if
look,
you want
I'm
to
gonna
call
be
it that.
ball playing center back.
Yeah, I was Lisandro Martinez
There you go. Okay.
without the left foot because I'd love to be left footed. But yeah, I'm at centre back and I've just stole the ball off Tom C. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
you know who Tom C is,
Yeah.
and if we play Sorare, and yeah, I've just kind of gone on this mazy run because I was like, you know what? I've defended like my heart out today. We had a clean sheet. It was me and Black at the back. Um, we had an amazing defense, right? Like insane, and like we had a good team. Like I'll be honest, we had a better team than them. It was a bit unfair, whatever, right? It happened. Nobody like we didn't. It was actually Dan from Sorry. So Dan, if you're watching, you picked the team, so that's on you. Anyway, we are like 2-0 up maybe, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go over the halfway line. Like I need my final third ball. I need some stats here because I filmed the whole thing obviously, and I was like, I need a moment because I'm defending really well here, and I'd love to play a bit further forward because I'm a midfielder. Like that's what I do. That's all I do on the football field is create chances. Like that's
Okay.
my game. I can't do anything else. I can't run, but I'll give me the ball and I'll make something happen. Anyway, go on this mazy run. I don't even think I looked up. All I did was just shoot, and I'm just looked up after the ball's obviously been shot, and it's just come off the post and gone into wherever it's gone. And I was just like, what have I just done? Like, I've just scored at Anfield. I
Well, a
don't think.
worldie. No, no,
No, yeah, it was
it
a
was
good
not.
goal. Like, it was a good goal.
I've seen the video many times
Yeah, not even just saying it, but like I've scored good goals in the past in like actual games or whatever. But I genuinely think that might be one of my best ever goals.
at Anfield.
And like, don't get me wrong, it's not in like like it was like a charity game, as you can imagine, right? The
Right.
the standard wasn't amazing, so I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh my god, like whatever. Like it was a bit of fun. Of course, we took it serious. I didn't want to concede. I wanted a clean sheet. I'm vlogging here, like I'm doing
And
like
a
the little
D
GoPro.
and a
And a
DA though.
DA, yeah, I
And a
had no
DA.
assists before that. So like I needed my DA, right? Because I couldn't make a so rare scoring matrix video without a
Nope.
DA, right?
No.
I ended up taking one shot the whole game. I'll be honest, I did take a corner, Keith. I did take a
Okay.
corner.
That's all
But
right.
I don't think it was a successful it wasn't a key pass or
Okay.
attempted assist.
Just a
Best
final
day of my
third
life.
pass.
Yeah, oh, just a final third pass. Best day of my life by a complete mile. I don't think I'd hope I'd be able to top it somehow, but genuinely, Keith, I'm quite happy to just like live off that.
For the
like
rest of my
I'm
life.
like, but what more can I like how does it I can't um
You
like
can't better it.
facilitate. I can't bear it, but I can't even like manufacture it
Right.
again. Because like that was like it's lucky that I scored. It's lucky that I was there. There's so many things that have to come into play. What tops that? I genuinely, for myself, like I don't think I'd never played at Premier League ground. By the way, not that many kids have done that, but like
Right.
I've played at Bristol City's ground when I was there as a kid, half time. Like you just get to do that or whatever. I'd never in my life played at a Premier League ground. That was the first time I'd ever played at one, and to score a goal was on it. Like I think about it every day, genuinely. Well, it's there.
That was gonna
It's
be my
there.
follow up.
So,
That was literally gonna be my follow up is to end. How often do you think they're
well,
every day?
I mean, it's I'm not somebody that like has memorabilia. Like I've never really like I love collecting like Pokemon cards. I'm weird. Um, but I don't have any like signed jerseys or anything. Like that's not something that like I ever got into. Not that I like have anything against it. But yeah, obviously getting that signed jersey for there was two man of the matches, one from each team. I luckily got the one. And yeah, it's my only ever signed piece of jersey. So I was like, I have to get it framed, like
Hell yeah.
obviously. And it's just yeah, I mean,
It's a great memory.
it's just the best memory, yeah, man. Like I know I've babbled on, but I'm just
No,
so grateful that Sora put that on and like being able to be part of that day was literally like I don't think I would change it for the world. If somebody offered me like 1 million subscribers now, I don't think I would change it.
you're like, I still got my worldie at Anfield.
I still got my world at Anfield. Like I don't think I'd ever want that to be changed. I don't.
No, I love it. Dude, thank you so much for your time. Hope everybody enjoys the episode. Make sure you can you real quick, like for you too. Make sure if these are new people checking out, where would they find you?
They'll find me at Harry Trades on YouTube, and they'll find me at Harry Trades YT on Twitter. Maybe they're the main two. But yeah, make sure you're subscribing to Keith's channel as well
Yeah,
because we've seen
all the
some big
love.
growth already, which is
Yeah, it's
amazing.
been crazy, and
Um,
we'll continue onward. Terry, thanks so much for your time. See you all next week.